Good morning, everybody. I'm Stacey with Stacey's Organizing and Decorating for Life. I'm here to do what? I'm here to help you organize your thoughts and decorate your perspectives. So, good morning to you. I'm literally doing this video at like 4:45 in the morning. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. This morning, we're going to talk about feeling defeated and going from feeling like a survivor, because that's what we feel like when we're feeling defeated, is it's just surviving. But how do we go from survivor to thriver? Getting back into our bodies. I think many of us are going through that these days and times, or have gone through that. And so I'm also going to include a little meditation here at the end. So I'm trying to be mindful of your time. So let's begin. If you like that's our topic today, though, please hit the like and subscribe button below and hit that bell for notifications too, so you'll know if I post this video on Wednesday or Thursday. So if you're coming back to this channel, many people come back on a weekly basis, and I thank you for that. I thank you for your support, and I thank you for watching and listening, and I just love and appreciate you very, very much. Thank you. But if you're new to this channel, I just have to let you know that I'm not a doctor, a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a scientist, any of those things, but I may share what I learn about those things, my thoughts and perspectives, in order to help you. If they've helped me, they might help you too. What I am is a life coach. I have a webpage called StaceyForLife.com. And on that webpage, I write a monthly blog, and I invite you to check that out. But also there's a description of the services that I provide as a life coach. It's really about going within to feel comfortable in our own skin, digging that stuff off of our souls so we can grow. It's about, desiring healing and healthy relationships, as well as development of spiritual and soul consciousness. So if you or anyone you know need help in any of those areas, please look me up, check me out, StaceyForLife.com. Or you can just email me at StaceyRenee4life@gmail.com. Okay? So when we're feeling defeated, and many of us have, we get overwhelmed. Some of the signs of feeling defeated or just being in trauma or stress or what have you, or these things can be like we feel out of our body. We sometimes disassociate and we do certain things, and then we feel regret and remorse for doing those things, whether it be an addiction to, alcohol, drugs, obviously ones, but the food, that's promoted. There's so much stuff that's promoted that it's easy to think and justify that using these things in excess is okay. But really what's going on is that we get into our minds, and there's certain, when we can get into our bodies, we can understand how certain organs and things, cells, and how things come together. And are we really hungry when we're reaching for the comfort of the food? Are we really needing to use something to stimulate or to bring us down when we're trying to de-stress? Do we really need something outside of ourselves to do that, or can we get in our bodies and do that ourselves? Do we really need to go shopping when we're feeling a sense of lack or scarcity? Do we need to buy something else, or do we need to gamble just to feel some more power, to feel powerful again? So when we can go back in our body within, we can gauge whether this is, something that we really need to reward ourselves with, or something that we're disassociating or escaping with from the distress. I did my Facebook post yesterday, so I'm going to read that to you right quick. I'm going to try not to read too much, because I think that's kind of boring, and I am trying to be mindful of your time, and I really want to get you back into your bodies, but at the same time give you information. Okay? So when I do my work with clients, this is what I do, is we talk and we discuss things, then we get back into our bodies, or whatever it is that we need to do to get, our relationship back with ourselves. Because many things outside of ourselves, TV, do we really need to watch TV when we're trying to reflect or trying to imagine something? Do we have to go out of ourselves to see it on a TV? So, give me a second. TV's not all bad, because you may be watching me on a screen right now. So when we regulate, it's being able to, enjoy both of the worlds. So it says, from my post yesterday, I know due from the pandemic, a lot has changed. Some folks I know have thrived, but some have felt defeated. maybe gone into survival mode and into their heads and out of the body. And I've been there too, honestly, a little bit, a few times myself, just trying to figure shit out, right? We're just trying to figure some shit out. I know a few thrivers also have been trying to figure things out, but we can all take, if we choose, an experience from this new normal for what it is right now, and the purpose and how to get back into our bodies and how to regulate. So today's video, because it said tomorrow's, but today's video will include the meditation on how to do that. In other words, getting out of the monkey mind, self-sabotage, and, without distraction or distracting bad habits. So we're going to look at what's become a habit that we, act like is a reward, but it's a habit. So the quote that goes with this, and I want you to understand this, is trust yourself. You've survived a lot, and you'll survive whatever is coming. And this is a quote by Robert Tew. Okay? So with that being said, let's get into this video. So the reason it's important for you to understand that you have survived a lot is that's really to give you your esteem back. Because when we feel defeated, we feel less of an esteem. But when we can remember a time that we felt defeated, that's the first part, is, just remember a time when we felt defeated before and we overcome it, though we thought it was going to swallow us and, kill us and everything else. But we've come out of it. But this is a different time. You might say, oh, but this is the pandemic. And it does have some validity. People that have disassociated or used these reward systems have indeed, amped up that. Everything's been kind of amped up and more intensified, right? So I told you I've been reading this book, What Happened to You. And it says in this book on page, 64, that what we do is the relief of distress gives pleasure. So these things that I talked about earlier, the drinking, the drugging, the eating, the shopping, those things give us pleasure because it's a relief from the distress. But it's an only temporary relief from distress because we feel regret after that, So if we can get back into our bodies, we can gauge whether or not we absolutely need these things or not, whether we're just rewarding ourselves consistently and excessively over and over to escape the feelings that we need to work on in our bodies, the actions we may need to take or not take to regulate us. And I know that for me, I haven't heard this term regulate so much until I picked up this book, and then picking up this book, I learned a lot, and it even says same yet on this page. Many of us found it harder to fill up during COVID-19 pandemic. People reported more anxiety or depression, and many people used some of the less healthy forms to reward to fill that void. Okay, and so I've seen that myself happen, and I've seen a lot of relapse happening, whether, from any of those things I mentioned above. So we have to learn about what really is a real reward system, because with the TV, if we go to the TV to disassociate, then they've got all kinds of reward systems on there that will justify these things. So in this book, it has this little cone of, how a healthy reward system looks, Then it talks about on this other side about, how the unhealthy reward system is. And I know you can't see it, but it says we go to sweet and salty, fatty foods and alcohol and drugs, and then the relational things. It's the little blue one. Relational is the big blue one on the healthy page. So we'll get to that in a minute. But first, let's talk about why we would be dysregulated. And, when we look at these polarities, it's oftentimes, we're talking about going from survivor to thriver, but in these polarities, we figure out, oftentimes what we want by understanding what we don't want. We figure out, the opposite of everything by it happening. So we consider when it's happening, like when you're feeling defeated right now, when we're going through what we don't want, we feel defeated. So to get to what we do want, we have to understand and realize that. So it's going back in the past to figure out how we became dysregulated, to figure out how we can regulate. So when I'm working with people, we look at their relationship to whatever it is that's bringing them, problems. And oftentimes it does lead to health problems. It will lead to physical problems if we don't take care of the emotional problems, and the emotional problems come from the past. So when I get you to go back in your bodies with the meditation, we'll look at the past, and looking at the past, as if we grew up in a house where people had mental disorders or any of these number of things, addictions and what have you. We became dysregulated by never knowing when the other shoe was going to fall, never knowing when the chaos was going to come. If you lived in a house, I'm going to use my house for instance, like my dad was alcoholic or an addict, and so what would happen is he was a very good man. And so this isn't about blaming or shaming people, because the people of our past didn't have any of the information like these screens that we have now. So it wasn't as popular to get help for our problems as it is now. Healing has become right in the forefront of many of the issues that we have today, and we have a solution. So when my dad would be in a state where we could tell when he was, getting drunk and he was escaping and dissociating and himself and doing his thing, he had an energy to him. We could tell, we could sense it. And this is when we started to walk on eggshells. When you would see my dad doing this with his hands, looking like he wanted to hit something, we knew, okay, it's about to hit, something's about to hit. And then we could see him moving his lips, like what he was, tell somebody what he really thought. How when we get wasted, it's like, I'll tell them what I really think. So we could tell that those lips started moving, no words coming out, but it sent that to where our systems already knew, our bodies started to react, to this. So it was a stressor, to say the least. And, our parents, they may have not wanted us to experience these feelings, and they may, still love us, but this is what would happen. It's an unconscious decision. See, when we're acting out on these behaviors, we're not being conscious. So when we're looking at these reward systems and how we try to alleviate the distress and have the pleasure, is that there are some trying times. First off, we have to acknowledge it, and acceptance doesn't mean when we're accepting something that we have to keep participating in it, So it's being able, when we regulate, we're able to do what is right for ourselves when we can get into our bodies and understand what is right for ourselves, cells, and soul. You see, when I talk about this, the reason I indicate the cells is because what we don't take care of, as I was saying before, from the past and the emotions, it will bleed into that physical pain, because these things come up to show us this. When you're starting to get a headache, you grab at your head, and that's because you can alleviate that by doing that. But most people think that they have to do something else. Now, I'm not a medical doctor, remember this. So if you have migraines and things that come on in you, I'm not saying not to take something. I'm just trying to get you to remember to associate that there's reasons why we do the things that we do, and we don't think about those reasons. So, and to get you back into your body is to require some thought and to look for other solutions than the ones that we've had that bring us that regret and that remorse from maybe, feeling those feelings. Because usually what those feelings do is that when they give us temporary satisfaction, the regret and the remorse get deeper and deeper and deeper till we get sick and tired of being sick and tired. So when I'm getting back in my body myself, when I start feeling distressed and out of sorts and I get dysregulated again, because when we realize that these are parts of this life, that this is part of, that's why we have positive and negative. The negative is to teach us something so we can turn it into a positive experience. And how the reward system is actually supposed to work is of being of service. I love that I am involved in a 12-step program because it gives me the gratitude. I was sharing just the other day about how, last night as a matter of fact, about how growing up in this environment has prepared me for this pandemic. It's like, baby, I'm used to chaos. I've learned a long time ago how to take chaos to clarity. But it's understanding that, we're not just living a life of clarity, but we're all held up to these bars, or some people, I think, feel held up to a bar to where they think we're supposed to be somewhere where we're not. So we have to understand where we are to get to where we think we're supposed to be. And we have to understand where we are with getting back into our bodies so we don't keep judging ourselves and labeling ourselves and others, and we get into acceptance, and then we can grow from there and be of service to help somebody else to grow, because that's really what this is all about. So in this meditation, I do mine for 15, 20, 30 minutes. So I'm going to do kind of a rushed version because we're already 15 minutes into this video, and I told you all I was going to be mindful of your time. So I'm going to move more rapidly than I do when I do my own meditation, just so you get the idea and you can start giving yourself a new inner dialogue. You can calm this monkey mind down and get yourself a new inner dialogue that's going to be more beneficial and help you to establish a different relationship with yourself, because the one that you have, if you're dysregulating through your reward system, is not serving you, right? So what I do in mine is I have these oils, thanks to Peggy Sue. I love her. And I have a roll-on oil, and I have one like this. Now, first off, what we want to do is, like I said, I'm not a doctor, so you do this to your own comfort level, okay? But when I'm working with people, or when people have worked with me in the past, my fairy goddess mother, we put the oil in my hand, her hand, and you can put the oil at your third eye too, because we're going to acknowledge some centers and systems in the body that will help us stay regulated in our body. And my holistic doctor has told me, because I'm going through menopause, to put the clary sage, this is frankincense, not clary sage, clary sage is over there, on my neck like this. And so it's just to nurture myself, to actually give myself that nurturing. And I'm not saying I didn't have it as a child. My mother was very affectionate and loving, but we do need to nurture. We begin to grow up when we grow up. That's our own time when we get to do this. So rub your hands together, because I'm trying to be mindful. And then we're going to, just as we're rubbing our hands together and taking some deep breaths, take some deep breaths. Slow, deep, slow breaths. So I work with breathing with a lot of people, and I say, take some deep breaths, and it's like, like this. Slow down. Do your best, because I know that a lot of times nowadays people got breathing issues, so do your best, okay? And as you're taking these deep breaths and getting the friction and rubbing your hands together and being back in your body, I want you to remember how divinely connected you are to everything. So put your chin, kind of lower your head as best as you can. And give thanks to the earth for giving us our regeneration, our possible origin and birth. We're ashes to ashes, dust to dust, So we thank the earth, though, for all the sustenance that it gives us, for the nurturing, the food. Everything that we get comes from the earth. The trees that we make our furniture out of. So let's give thanks for the earth and gratitude for the earth, and for it even possibly being a part of our bones, is the rocks. Maybe our bones are kind of made of the same thing, porous like the rocks and the stars and the, all of this. So then turn your head to the left and take those deep breaths still yet. I hope you're still breathing while I'm talking, taking the deep breaths, calming, soothing yourself. And remember, as you cock your head to the left, is best, to where it kind of gives you a little stretch. You're expanding. It's a small expansion, but we're being grateful for the air that fills our lungs, our organs, and runs through our body, and that we share. So many people are afraid of sharing the air right now, but if you're in your space, just breathe, share your air, as it's just ever flowing. Expansive. Then cock your head to the right. Be thankful for the water that we cleanse, we can drink and purify inside our bodies, that we use to cleanse outside of our bodies. Be thankful for that water that's like the streams that runs through our veins to provide the blood to our vital organs and all that remains. Then look up to the sky, and there's the sun and the light, the fire in our soul, the heartbeat that we have that regulates and controls. When we were babies, we learned to listen to that heartbeat in the womb so that we could soothe So we're going to listen to our own heartbeats here. Breathe in, continue breathing in and breathing out. Being able to feel our passions, our dreams, goals, and desires, and not feel defeated and not feel like we're just surviving, but going to thrive and getting back in our bodies. What is it that we really want and desire? We're not dependent on anything outside of ourselves to tell us what we really want and desire. It's about getting back into our bodies. Maybe we don't even need anything. Maybe we just need to learn to comfort ourselves. So our own heartbeat is when we come into this world, really, we came in with another heartbeat, but we're going to go out with our own heartbeat. So now, I encourage you to put your hands over your eyes as we get to visualize. Use our own imaginations. We're not looking for the TV to provide imagination, anything else. So put your hands over your eyes like this. And you can't see anything. Close your eyes, and you can't see anything with your physical eyes, but your physical eyes are what feed your brain. So giving those physical eyes a rest and not going insane, because it's what we see on the outside, those past things that we see that are triggering over and over, that stimulate these different centers in the brain. So take these deep breaths and realizing this and getting back into this relationship with your body, understanding how important the eyes are and giving them a regenerated rest, but being able to connect with that third eye, that eye in the middle of your forehead, the hypothalamus, the pineal gland, the pituitary glands. These things know what they know to soothe your soul. They know what needs to be fixed or not fixed within yourself, that it can't come outside of yourself, because those fixes will only be temporary. So then move from there. You'll have to open your eyes now and watch me. Put your hands here on your head. And then, you can extend your arms out to be open and receptive. And just give your brain a hug. It thinks so many things, and we just need to stay inside, not let all those thoughts go outside to trying to fix everything that we're overwhelmed about at one time. We can only fix one thing at a time, but it could indeed start with ourselves. So we need to get calm, get back in our body and regulate, and give our brain a hug, not overstimulate, okay? We don't want to be in distress, but rest. So the next move is hold it there as long as you can when you're doing this for yourself, to where it feels comfortable. And you'll, after a while of practicing this, you'll know when to release. But then the next is to go to your back of your head like this. And then you want your hands to be touching, those index fingers to be touching on the back. But also you're giving your subconscious a hug. You're letting your subconscious know that I'm not going to react from you. I'm giving you a hug too. So we're touching and holding our subconscious, and we're feeling the veins. We can feel the blood pulse back there oftentimes. I know I can, but feeling it and acknowledging it also brings me comfort. That does. I'm in my body and I can feel it and acknowledge it and calm it down by just touching it with these oils on my hand and getting in my body by rubbing those hands together and giving it some different energy. Rather than trying to feed it, just trying to nurture it. Nurturing isn't always something outside of ourselves. It's not that reward system. There's a difference. So take these deep breaths and feel yourself nurturing your subconscious. When we say, I don't know why I did that, and we beat ourselves up, we don't have to. It's coming from the subconscious. When we say it's in the back of my mind, it is in the back of your mind. Those polarities, being able to get in our body and realize that we can find a solution to go from those old feelings to new feelings. So breathe. Now we're going to move to this part. I want you to, just do this. I'm not trying to get you to strangle yourself, so do it to your comfort, y'all. But kind of give yourself a little pressure through here, through these glands, so you can expand them a little bit if you can. That oftentimes when we are distressed or we're feeling defeated, we're gritting our teeth, we're doing these things, and then we can feel it in the muscles of our necks and the gland of our necks. So kind of just give yourself your own little massage here, but also These fingers here, I want to be connected on each side of your vertebrae, because you've also got these cords, these ganglia, cords, these cords that run through there that are running off the neurosystems of the brain, that what you think feeds into your body. So we want to kind of massage those things too. So kind of pull back here and hold that, and hold it to your comfort, and as much as you like. At first it may not bring you comfort, but after a while it might. Okay? So breathe, continue this breathing, knowing that you are in touch with your body, that you are nurturing these systems. It starts right here to nurture these systems, that we speak our truth. This would be, in chakra, your truth chakra. So what your brain has fed you from what you see is what we claim as our truth. But maybe if it's not serving us, we need to get back in our bodies and find a different truth. So breathe. Then we're going to go from there. You continue doing that. I want you to learn how to do this on your own, so you can stop these videos at any time. But your thumbs go here, and then those same fingers, the index finger and middle finger, attach it to those cords on the next row of vertebrae. Because believe it or not, what happens is these cords go through the back of your neck. Your autonomic system, cerebrospinal system, all of these things feed into the different vertebrae in your, or different layers in your body, your cells and everything. And so that is what will make you sick if you don't nurture those things. So this is, those stimulants from outside tend to cause us problems later on in life, and we're like, oh, that's what it does. But if you can be proactive and get in your body, remember, you're doing something that's good for your body right now. You're letting your body be acknowledged. You're also letting your mind have a rest, so it's not overwhelmed. So continue that breathing and holding there, knowing that you're going into these areas that go into these places in your back and body. When we say I'm breaking my back, we're feeling defeated. We're trying to thrive, not just trying to survive, but we just need to take a break sometimes to be able to get a different solution. So nurturing ourselves, self-soothing and comforting ourselves. Then we're going to go to your heart. So put your hands on your heart. And remember, this is running the show. Your heart is running the show. So if you have a heart issue, you're going to grab your heart. But you don't have to wait till you have an issue to hold your heart. Your heart space is your sacred space. When our heart hurts, we realize the importance of it. But it's important to realize the importance of it before it hurts. Because when it hurts, it's a sign that we've ignored our heart. So breathe. Then the next place we're going to move is to our solar plexus, which we claim, if you're into chakras, that's your ego chakra, but I like to also claim it as the soul part of our body too, and it's also for your gut health, whether you believe in chakras or not. So grab yourself here. The next three layers, the next three places are going to be, taking yourself like that with your hands in that position. So when you're at the solar plexus, though, that's our will to survive. So that's oftentimes why, when our stomach we don't feel good at our stomach. We need to start thinking about what we're thinking about rather than putting something in it or trying to escape from the discomfort of our stomach. We may need to eat. If you're regulated, if you've eaten or not, or when you've eaten or not, and if you should eat or not, and it's not about rationalizing and justifying. This, getting us back in our body, is we're out of our minds, so we're not, rationalizing and justifying why we would do something else to soothe or find comfort. So you're breathing, really feeling your stomach. You feel it move. You can tell if it's full or not. You can know and have that relationship with your stomach so that you're not, unhappy with your stomach or anything else, So when we develop relationships with things, usually, sometimes when we find the unhappiness, we just need to get another solution. So maybe the solution at this time is not doing what we've done in the past. Maybe it's doing something else. So breathe in and breathe out. Continue doing this, because you're not going to hear me talking when you do this to yourself. This is my talking and saying these things to get you back in your body and to understand these organs and functions. Is just so you can claim that for yourself, because your organs and functions are the same as my organs and functions. Hopefully, we all have that. Most of us are born with the same capacities for that. Sometimes we're not, and we have to adjust. So then you go down to your belly button, and this is your relationships, and oftentimes when we're having gut feelings in our stomach, we'll have it about relationships, right? And a lot of that times that comes from our mind, but when we're just being present in the moment and breathing, we can calm down that mind. Because if we have these issues, that I've talked about in prior videos of jealousy, and that we've grown up in a family maybe where people were jealous. We have an inkling to be jealous. We think that somebody's always going to be doing something that's better or, worse than we could imagine. And we're trying to counteract that before it gets done. But we make ourselves sick at our stomachs, don't we? So we don't have to be sick at our stomachs when we just nurture our stomachs, go into our stomachs, and regulate where these thoughts are coming from. But first, we got to get back into our breathing and not panic mode. So feel your breath moving through your stomach, your lungs, those organs that are running without your help. So if we don't pay attention to them, later we're going to find out what their function is. So let's just nurture them and let them do their job and acknowledge them and give gratitude to that too. That air, remember, going through. So then the next, if you're setting up, you can do this setting up or laying down, but the next is going to be at your pelvic area. Your hands held the same way, but this is your grounding. This is being aware of your surroundings and not escaping into the past or into the future. This is being grounded, being present here right now in our bodies, and understanding that in our grounding, we don't have to be grinding. It's just like, no, you can just be present. There's nothing else you have to be doing. So take these deep breaths. And I want to close with this, is that you do this on your own time. But to have this relationship with your body now may prevent you from having relationships, with your illnesses later. So I'm hoping that this is helping you. I hope that this is getting you back into your body to where you can regulate and self-soothe, because what happens is when we learn how to regulate and self-soothe ourselves, the reason that the service is important and that I love about my programs, not only that, I learned from the dysfunction, the disease, because that's what this all leads to, right? If we don't take care of this, then we lead to disease. And it's being able to be within a community, not feeling alone, as many of us have felt during this pandemic. So then when we get to grow from something and learn from something and evolve from that distress and that defeat, we're able to help somebody else. And this is where the service comes in. This is where the reward is supposed to be. It's not supposed to be in the excess and then the entitlement and all of this from the rationalization and justification is how we grow entitlement, is that it just continues to grow from that. But when we get in our bodies and grow our souls, we're able to share that because we're all divinely connected through that. So I hope that you're able to realize that you have a role in this life, that you are not worthless, that you have a lot of worth, that you can be the opposite of what you feel like you are, that there's always room for that. But getting back into our bodies and remembering that we are not those feelings of defeat, that we don't just have to survive this life, that we can thrive, but we have to understand within ourselves, selves, and souls what that looks like and live our best lives. Okay? So I hope that this video has been helpful, and I thank you once again for your time. We went a little over this time because of the meditation, but I hope that it's very helpful. If you have any questions or anything, you need to reach out to me. Or if you want to support this channel, because I'm trying to promote good vibes, I'm trying to promote healing, and if that's what you would like to promote too, I thank you for all of you do that support this channel, either through sharing the videos or contributing, to the channel in a monetary way if you can. But any way that you lift the energy, that this helps you and you want to help somebody else, that's the service that I'm talking about, okay? So that we all can feel of value, because it makes us feel good. That makes us feel good to be able to watch another person grow. That's just something that you just can't put a price tag on, okay? So again, I wish you much peace and love, and I look forward to connecting with you again next week. Remember, you can reach out to me at staceyreinick@gmail.com. If you want to do my PayPal, you're welcome to do that too, because the next video will probably be about teaching you all, once we're into our bodies, about how to ask for what we want and need and desire. Okay? Again, check out my webpage, staceyforlife.com. I just wrote a blog on how we, are we making excuses or do we have reasons, and how we can be powerless or empowered. Okay? All right. I look forward to connecting with you next week. Thank you so much. Bye.